Imagine Tommy Lee Jones getting lured by candy. Oh my God.
Welcome back to I'll See Myself Out. I'm Dan Lee Show.
I'm Ryan Patel.
I'm Terry.
And I'm Norm.
Consider these your only warnings.
There will be spoilers. Did I fuck it up?
You fucked it up big time, man.
There will be foul language.
There will be spoilers.
And for a limited time only, there will be more foul language.
What's the movie?
A Quiet Place.
Sometimes when I watch our footage online, I'm like, I wish this was the shut the fuck up Norm place, but they haven't made that movie yet. Every week I turn on my phone and I'm like, today's gonna be the day I see that trailer drop.
Did you take my chapstick again?
How dry is your mouth? Do you think if they made a movie called The Wet Place, that Dan's mouth would be the cure to killing the aliens?
I feel like this chapstick is a nervous twig.
Twick?
Are you fucking Terry?
Not yet.
Norm just ran out of words. I wonder how many more of these episodes we could do if I just bought Becca a humidifier and just got Dan moistened up before the show.
I'm just consuming diuretics. Not to mention those farts. Those farts are going to be causing quite a bit of dry mouth.
I'm hoping that since we're talking about the Quiet Place this time, that he's actually gonna like seal his ass up, and I'm not gonna just smell any
But deadly.
Norm would either be dead or he would be the only survivor.
Norm would get everybody else killed with his asshole.
Well, he'd get the maybe his farts would be so high pitched,
They would cause feedback.
the feedback loop that will kill the aliens.
So maybe we should explain to the audience who hasn't watched A Quiet Place what the fuck we're talking
We
about.
watched A Quiet Place for this podcast, where Jim from The Office decides that in a world where you can't make noise, it's a good idea to bring a third child into it.
That exact feeling as soon as I saw that Emily Blunt was pregnant again later on in the story. So for anybody who hasn't watched this movie, the premise behind it is that A Quiet Place centers around the backdrop of the story where the earth is, I guess invaded is the best way to put it, by creatures that are like extremely sound sensitive. So as a way of surviving and living, people try to live like a soundless existence while they scavenge for food and try to hold up in safe spaces. And this film is actually directed by John Krasinski, right?
That's right, yeah.
And Emily Blunt is his wife. So if you didn't know that, that's a little trivia for you there. They actually play like an on-screen couple in this movie. And the story kind of seems to center around their lifestyle while they're trying to raise their family on this farm property. Really, the film is like about family dynamics against the backdrop of like the imminent possibility of being killed by these creatures that can only sense people through sound. That also creates like one of the weird, difficult gauging points of this movie is because you don't know how loud a sound can be before it like attracts these creatures to attack people. The thing about the movie that I think I enjoyed was the way that it doesn't obsess over the creatures to create like the relationships and the tension in the story.
I wanted to call bullshit on this kid accidentally figuring out that these creatures don't like this high-pitched frequencies. You'd think that the very first thing that you would want to attack a hypersensitive creature with is like just any kind of loud sound.
The way that they've set up how things have petered out in the story is kind of weird because I agree it's like nobody seems to have really discovered a weakness for them, and clearly people can't seem to fight back against them in the way that they portray people getting attacked in the films. The way that the deaf girl has the hearing device set up, I can't imagine that the sound being emitted in her hearing device would be enough to be like perceivable to somebody else.
The thing that I kind of thought they loosely addressed to talk about that, the father was continuously trying new methods of transmitting sound to her brain. So he was trying different types of frequencies, different ways of feeding it back. And I think incidentally, this specific one was tuned into how they would hear. And I mean, not that it's like rock solid, but at least I feel like they tried.
Well, it would still technically be like within the audible spectrum, right? So it just feels like it could have been anything. Could have been like a boop. Like you figured like putting that through like a big speaker might fucking scare these things away.
It would have changed the tone of the movie if the weakness of the monsters was like
a fucking slide whistle? Or all those asshole kids who have the fucking recorder and they're all playing Hot Crust Buns?
Does anybody else know what Hot Crust Buns is?
Is this a Terryism? Because I also don't really know what a hot crust bun is.
Like I know what a hot cross bun is. Like it's a thing you make, but I've never heard it as a game.
Not a game.
You're saying it's a song on a recorder. Still, I haven't heard of that. How does it go?
No, I can't because I can't remember.
He's like, I have no idea how to play this. He pulls a fucking recorder out of his sleeve and starts fucking going on a recorder solo. What did you like about the movie?
I got hung up on too many things to really enjoy it, I think. Not that I thought it was a bad movie outright, but I think that too many things took me out of it.
Like the sci-fi elements?
No, I love sci-fi. Like and the parts of sci-fi they put in there. It was like how people would really be in those situations. I don't know how like honest that was. I like the representation of the monsters. I thought they were pretty cool. They were pretty well done.
What did you like about it? It's not a good start, Terry.
I'm having a little Jeopardy moment where I'm having a hard time even finding something that I liked about it. The tension and that thriller quality of the movie was good. I didn't like the story at all. If I'm gonna watch like a thriller movie, I want it to be purely psychological. I don't ever really want to see the monsters. I did find the cinematography very nice. You almost feel calm. The silence is it's calm, but at the same time it's terrifying. But that also goes into the whole end of things that really bother me about the movie. I don't know about you, but I've never been able to play Monopoly with anybody without wanting to tear their throat out and screaming.
Trying to be so quiet, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm sitting on Baltic with shit!
We definitely need to cover how weak John Krasinski's pull-out game is in the post-apocalyptic world. You got to keep the buns out of the oven.
You as a parent, you've taken the batteries out of a toy. Are you gonna leave it within arm's reach? Kids are smart enough to realize that where the fucking battery goes in a toy.
I would expect my son to be smart enough not to put the fucking batteries back in the toy. He was asking for it.
the kid? Well, I agree. The kid was asking for it.
I don't think I would have left my 2-year-old alone while I was out in a world where monsters can hear you fart and kill you.
Speaking of farts and dying, what did you think?
Me about farts and dying?
Yeah, how could we possibly relate that to you in any way? You doing the farting and us doing the dying, of course.
Everything I didn't like about this movie, the things that took me out of it, I think were parent related. It had a 4-year-old who couldn't get his shit together, fucked up and died. Roger started being loud and obnoxious at about 1 year. So how the fuck are you going to contain a child for probably 4 years? Wait till they're 5 so they're not going to screw up that bad.
As crazy as it would sound in a survival situation, I feel like I would duct tape my kid's mouth while they were a baby. Now that I think about this movie more, Norm, I actually think about how many scenarios that you would accidentally fart and get everybody killed. And more seriously though, if you slept anywhere and farted in your sleep or snored or sneezed, there's a lot of easy ways to get fucking killed in this movie.
We want to thank Brock Street Espresso for having us. They got great coffee. It's from Propeller in Toronto.
They make great seasonal drinks, by the way.
I'd also like to thank Man Antler for supplying of tasty beer. They're a great brewery out in Bowmanville. They're doing great events as well as movie nights for people to come out.
I rate this 4 shushes out of 10 possible shushes.
I think it was a good movie for the first time around. It's a hookup movie. This is not a marathon. This is not a commitment movie. I'd watch it once and say that that's enough for anybody. I'd give it 8 out of 10 possible Swamp Donkey hookups.
I'd give it 3 Nicolas Cage screams out of 10 Woody Harrelsons.
I think I would give it 1 family planning blunder out of a possible 10.
I mean, if I'm being honest, if I were in the apocalypse and Emily Blunt was my wife, I'll see myself out.
We're going to be moving all of our podcast from our North Brothers account over to its very own podcast channel called @I'll See Myself Out Podcast. Making a hard switch. You're going to see nothing but behind the scenes stuff on our North Brothers account, and then we're just going to have straight I'll See Myself Out podcast material on the other one.
If you're hoping to see less of us, this is not your day.